So let me talk about Monty. He had an average rating of 6 in the stock watch. It might surprise you or interest you to find out he actually had the exact same average rating as Taylor. Average them together, it was like a 6.18 or something. Both of them exactly the same average rating over the course of the entire season. If Monty wins, he'll be the winner who has seen the least amount of Big Brother prior to winning since Hayden Moss, which is true of all 3 of these winners, actually. And that's pretty much it. I couldn't really find any other interesting sort of stats firsts for Monty here. And, you know, that's because he is kind of pretty typical at this point of the archetypal winner. Of course, would be the second black man to win the game. But Monty came into the game bonding quickly with Kyle and wanting to work with other strong players. He also, of course, bonds with Joseph, but is definitely much more strategically working with Kyle throughout the game. In fact, as you may have noticed through that game recap, Monty had very little strategic connection to Joseph, very few strategic conversations with Joseph. He had most of his strategic conversations with Kyle throughout the game. So he came into the game quickly. He wanted to bond with he wanted to work with the stronger players, and he does so. He gets with Kyle, Joseph. He works with Michael for a while. He works with Turner pretty closely. That's sort of where Monty is standing here. He quickly has both the men and the women vying to work with him, but he prioritizes the Mamba bleep pose pack of it all. He's always had a little bit of an issue, though, with oversharing his game secrets. So when he informs the pose pack, what will eventually become the pose pack, about Oasis, it causes the two sides of his alliance to clash a lot sooner than they should in week 2. Monty, the guy who is continuing to say to Turner, like, hey, say like oversharing about his relationship with Taylor to Turner, oversharing with Taylor about how he thinks he can beat her. I would say definitely one of his flaws in the game is sharing information that he doesn't have to. Pooch is targeted in week 2, and I do definitely blame Monty for this. And Monty spends a lot of time trying to prevent the move from going through. He ultimately fails, and the effort causes a schism in the majority that is about to come to a head when the bestie twist nearly halts it. In week 3, he is briefly going to go back to postpack until Kyle spurns him into action to join an alliance that's more beneficial to them. They create the Pound and the Leftovers together. From there, Monty attempts to play this Big Brother 20 style chaos game, but that doesn't last very long because he wins HOH in week 4. Week 4 is a huge turning point in Monty's game. He's going to win HOH and continue to try to play both sides, but very quickly gets caught. After being convinced to target Alyssa instead of Nicole, he makes a play to convince Daniel to not use the veto by ratting out Terrence, Jasmine, Indy, and Alyssa, which firmly places him in the crosshairs of the other side of the house when that gets exposed. And that crosshair, it never leaves him. The other side of the house never trusts him again and continues to target him until every single one of them is gone from the house. After week 4, this fake target goes from Taylor to Monty. Michael then wins HOH in week 5 and misses his first of what will be 3 shots that he could have taken at Monty. Mostly because he already saw that so many other people were targeting Monty. Kyle starts pitching his Cookout 2.0 theories, and unbeknownst to Monty, he has lost his closest ally to racist paranoia. This would be the lowest point in Monty's game, if not for a huge break for him happening when Joseph and Taylor start publicly getting close. Michael, Brittany, and Kyle start shifting their crosshairs from Monty to Joseph. In week 6, Taylor wins HOH, and the tension between the two sides of the alliance deepens as they try to get Kyle to evict Alyssa. Monty continues to mostly benefit from this as Joseph is the point person for all of the heat. But in general, Monty is continuing to sort of like let all of this happen. In week 7, Monty is chosen to be inside by Michael as his backup target because his primary target has been sent outside, Joseph, to be evicted by Terrence. Monty doesn't waste this opportunity, though, and he starts playing some of the best Big Brother I think he displays all season long. He bonds with Michael really well. Monty has charm when he wants to use it, and he lays it on with Michael this week. He makes the 4 in the house feel very comfortable and does some good jury management with Jasmine to boot. He's a little sloppy, though. He does still talk often with both Taylor and Brittany about targeting Michael. But while Michael is HOH and he's on the block. But overall, this is a good week for Monty in the house. But that's in the house. Outside, things are going very bad. In fact, they're pretty devastating for Monty because Joseph is being targeted and Monty is the primary target for all 4 of the other outsiders. That is until Joseph leaks that Taylor has a final 3 with Michael and Brittany. And Kyle realizes that Michael is his true threat. Even so, Monty is still one of the top 2 targets and in real danger in the following week. But Joseph revealing that information about Taylor, Michael, and Brittany is huge for Monty's game. In week 8, the house reunites. Turner wins HOH, and Monty again is going to do some good work to convince Turner that he's with him and that he shouldn't be targeted. Ultimately, though, Kyle is going to outmaneuver him here, and Kyle has the stronger hold on Turner and gets Turner to target Michael with Monty as a backup target. When Michael wins the veto, the game is up for Monty. Kyle has him dead to rights. He's prepared to throw him under the bus for ratting out the insiders so quickly. But that's when Kyle gets sideswiped by Michael, dropping his Cookout 2.0 knowledge, convincing Turner to evict Kyle instead of Monty. It cannot be understated how huge this was for Monty, though I think not unfairly, because it's really the very thing that sparked the events that put him in the firing line ultimately came back around to save him once he was there, right? The fact that Kyle had these suspicions about Monty, Cookout 2.0 theories, started to act on them and actively turned on Monty, eventually came to threaten Monty's game. He was about to leave, and then that getting exposed then saved Monty. I'd call that a wash. Personally, I don't think that you could say that Monty's game should be discredited for being saved by this moment because his game was only in danger because of the thing that was exposed. That's what I'm trying to say. And Monty, he doesn't waste this opportunity. He picks up a rudderless Turner in a final 2 and moves forward in one of the best positions in the game. All he has to do now is beat Michael. Michael, though, of course, wins the HOH and the veto in week 9. And he's going to avoid taking the shot at Monty for his 3rd and final time. He doesn't want to go back on his word after the events of the prior week. Again, I want to note, Michael exposing Kyle, so huge for Monty's game in that week at the very least. And then Monty is able to really take advantage of the situation by picking up Turner and helping. And the situation also helps prevent Michael from taking the shot that he should at either Turner or Monty. Monty and Turner do, though, decide that they want to start working with Michael this week, only to come back around on realizing that he'll need to target him if he has the chance by the end of the week. So in the double eviction, Turner and Monty win HOH and veto, and they send Michael out. Monty then wins HOH in week 10, cementing his place in the final 4, where he is going to successfully maintain Turner's obedience and get Alyssa out. But he does unnecessarily piss off Brittany in the process, which very nearly costs him the whole game, as she came very close to winning the final 4 veto. And if she had, I do believe she would have evicted Monty, primarily because of this conversation that he has with Brittany. Monty then wins the final 4 veto and can't be swayed to evict Turner. He heads into the final 3 with Taylor and Turner, expecting both of them to take him to the final 2 and that he will be able to beat both of them in the final 2. Now, is this correct? I just talked about how Turner is saying that Monty is beloved by the jury after beating both Monty and Taylor in part 1 of the final 3 HOH. So we'll see. Also, we have to consider, will Monty beat Taylor? After last night's jury segment in the episode, it's looking a little bit better. And it is certainly very possible. But I think we also can all agree at this point that he probably has a much better chance against Turner. But we'll see. So that's kind of the summary, right? Here are my thoughts. Monty is every winner that you've seen since the endgame comms have become more winnable, since that part 3 has become a trivia instead of a crapshoot, since the final 4 vetoes have become more and more physical. He is every winner you have seen since that happened, right? And I don't mean that as a dig. Like, he is somebody that both the audience and his fellow contestants recognized as the biggest threat to win the game from the second he entered the house. His game should, I think, be looked at in 3 phases. First, the beginning of his game was defined by his social skills. He attracted a lot of allies, all kinds of allies, right away for his easygoing nature, his confident presence. He attracted people to him. He's a big, strong guy with a charming personality. Again, when he wants to turn that on, and that really worked out for him. It was really the opposite of sort of Taylor's initial time in the game, right? And I definitely would credit a lot of that to his social game. The second phase of his game was the weakest. He couldn't really hack it at the schemer role. And after he got caught, he kind of coasted for a while, as he both fairly and unfairly started losing his allies to other people. I'm talking about Joseph moving a little bit closer to Taylor. I'm talking about Kyle unfairly deciding he didn't want to be over there with Monty. He starts losing some other people elsewhere. And he kind of starts to just drift in the game a little bit. But the third phase of his game starts during the split house. He starts working to win allies within his alliance again. He starts working the game again. He picks up both Taylor and Turner when they lose their previously closest ally. When Taylor loses Joseph, he picks up Taylor. When Turner loses Kyle, he picks up Turner. He's picking up the scraps. He's the true leftover guy here. He then is able to take out Michael and dominate the end game competitions. That's that third phase of his game. That third phase, though, is not without its flaws. His jury management starts to leave something to be desired, and his overconfidence could end up costing him the whole game. Thinking that he definitely can beat Taylor when maybe she actually has a chance to beat him. Thinking that Turner will definitely take him when perhaps Turner might actually turn around and cut him. So we'll see. I did say, though, up top, it's a pretty textbook game at this point. It's very reminiscent of Casey, of Jackson, of Xavier, at least in the broad strokes, right? It wasn't the flashiest game, wasn't the most inspiring game, it wasn't the most dominant game, but he always put in the work, and he got it done when he needed to get it done. And if he wins this game, in my eyes, it will be primarily due to his charisma. He's so good at making people feel comfortable and heard when he wants to, which is one of the reasons why he always had options in the game and was able to pick up pieces when they were dropped on the floor. And it may be the reason the jury decides to give him the win. And that's Monty's Big Brother 24 game in a nutshell. Thank you for joining me. I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I will update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 24 live feeds, including likely feeds I think have been down for part 2 of the final 3 HOH. We'll have a winner of part 2. I'm expecting it to be Monty. I think he has a leg up in this competition, but you never know. And then what kind of conversations happen after that, right? If it is Monty, I think it'll be very difficult to tell where Turner is leaning, because I think that Turner will continue to tell Monty he'll take him. If it's Taylor, I think that will be very telling, because if it's Taylor, I think that Turner, if he does intend to cut Monty, will tell Taylor, hey, I intend to cut Monty. I want to bring you. Because he no longer has to worry about Monty being mad at him and not taking him. But if Monty is competing in part 3, then I think he'll continue to say he's going to take Monty. So if Taylor wins part 2 and Turner doesn't tell Taylor that he wants to take her, I think that also tells us that he will take Monty, right? So Taylor winning, I think, exposes Turner for what he will actually do to us, hopefully.